The film opens inside a bus, and two men are conversing about someone named Aaron, realizing that they both know him from the past. Soon, all the passengers join in that conversation by expressing how they also know Aaron, and one of them says it's strange how they happen to be on the same bus. The bus that is driving through the mountains suddenly turns to its left and falls off a cliff. All of the passengers have died except one, Vikram, who is being hospitalized. The doctor tells him he was unconscious yesterday, but even then, his left hand was very active. A flashback takes us back in time, and we see Vikram's parents being in a conference room with their doctor. The doctor tells them that inside the mother's belly has happened something called Vanishing Twin Syndrome, and one of the twin brothers has absorbed the other one inside it in order to survive. Since there was not enough food for both of them due to a fetus deficiency, the doctor adds that the absorbed twin has been adopted to the left hemisphere of the baby's brain, and the neurons from the left side of the brain expand to the baby's left arm. So basically, it's like the kid that's going to be born is going to live for two people, but the other twin will live through the left arm of the child. A short montage shows us how Vikram grew up and presents the challenging situations he had to face due to his reactive left arm. When Vikram is free to leave the hospital, he visits his sister's house in order to see her daughter Maha, who he thinks is a reincarnation of his mother. We also see that Vikram is a director, and the next day, he and his assistant visit an antique shop where they are supposed to meet with a new client. When Vikram sees that client, Shitra, he realizes he has known her from college and they had a love story going back then. The film takes us back in the past and shows us what happened. While Vikram runs after a bully to beat him up, he bumps upon Shitra and notices that his watch starts working. He says to his friend that this watch has been a gift from his mother and didn't work lately, but when he and Shitra touched, the watch started ticking. Vikram tries to get closer to Shitra, but his left arm acts on its own and always puts him in trouble. Shitra complains to the principal about Vikram's unsuitable behavior, and the principal calls both of them for a chat. Vikram's left arm grabs Shitra's hand and doesn't let go, even in the presence of the principal. Vikram has to drag her out and tells his hand to let go. A short sequence shows us various occasions where Vikram tries to impress Shitra and make her come around, but his left arm ruins everything, every time. But a new opportunity emerges when a bunch of dudes are bothering Shitra, and Vikram runs to her aid. He beats those guys up, and that proves to be the first step for them in getting a bit closer to each other. As time goes by, they become friendlier towards each other until they get a chance to hang out together, even though that chance is ruined by a phone calls that Vikram receives from his sister. He tells Shitra that he has to go, but he will be back shortly, which, as we learn back in the present, never happened. Shitra tells her assistant Vikram didn't return that day, and he didn't return at all. It's been 6 years since the last time they saw each other. They proceed with their business plans, and Shitra tells him about her company goals and how she wants the ad to look like. The next morning, they shoot the ad, and it proves to be a big success, since Shitra asks Vikram to go in the USA to shoot an American version of the ad. They do so, and Vikram tries to get closer to Shitra, even though she wants to keep her distance. Vikram tells her about what happened 6 years ago, and explains he disappeared because he helped his sister get married to the man she loved, a wedding that was against their father's will. He adds he returned for Shitra, but everyone had lost contact with her and he wasn't able to find her. They share some more information, and Shitra tells him she loved him truly back then, and that's why she named her company V Rewind, making the letter V refer to Vikram's name. Vikram tells her that she is also present in his life and company, and shows her that if she changes some letters in his company's name, her name is there. A short sequence shows them spending some more time together, and Vikram also explains her the situation about his left arm. But Shitra says that's not that bad and she can learn to live with that. Vikram returns back home and he has fallen asleep on the back seats of a cab. The cab driver is looking around for Vikram's and his sister's house but can't find it. Vikram wakes up and tells him he has passed the house, and the driver backs off with the cab. Vikram arrives at his house, but he sees it has been demolished. He runs out and his friend Tenali informs him that his brother-in-law and his niece are dead, while his sister has ended up in the hospital. Vikram visits his sister in the hospital and she is in a coma. The doctor tells him his sister is out of danger, but it will take some time for her to fully recover and get over her shock. Later on, Vikram gazes at some clocks on the wall and realizes that the time zones don't match up. When he was in the USA, he spoke with his niece on the phone, and the time the house was blown doesn't match with that phone call. He estimates that he spoke with Maha after the house was blown, so that means Maha is alive. He drives through the roads in the middle of the night, but he crosses over a spike trap, which flats his tires. He receives a phone call from a man that tells him the bomb at his sister's house was intended for him, but he was lucky. He also says that he wants Vikram to feel what it's like to lose something that's yours. Vikram is attacked by two men, but he immediately pushes them off. Vikram goes straight to the police and tells them exactly what happened, but the police is not quite willing to help him, stating that the reports they wrote were examined by professionals and they can't be wrong. They don't believe Vikram's story, but he insists in asking for their help, which eventually makes the chief call him and his friends in his office. However, he is not very helpful and has other things to do that interest him more. Vikram tells him that patience has its limits, but the chief doesn't seem to bother, which makes Vikram's left arm grab his head and bump it on his desk. Vikram knows that he has to do this alone, and he visits the doctor that treated his mother and him from childhood, telling him that they need to find a way to restrain his left arm because he can't control it, and that might be a problem. The doctor says a brother is a bodyguard who we never asked for, and shares a story from his mother. In the past, he had told Vikram's mother that he can desensitize the neurons in his left arm and make it more controllable as a totality rather than it being controlled by the left hemisphere of his brain. But his mother told the doctor she was supposed to have twins, even though that went wrong. So she wants to have both of her children in one body. Vikram's friends help him trace the number of Arjun, the man who kidnapped his niece, but they realize the number is a clone of Vikram's number. However, Arjun communicates with him the next day and takes him through a series of trials just to have some fun with him. He makes Vikram buy some stuff for him and pays with Vikram's bank account, saying that he has all of his information and passwords. Then, he makes him find an injured boy and run through the subway station. Vikram becomes tired and he grabs some water to drink, which Aaron later tells him contains some sedatives in it. Vikram is feeling dizzy and is almost ready to fall asleep, but he electrocutes himself to keep going. Eventually, Aaron and his assistant are waiting for him in the end of the road, but Vikram doesn't make it till there and collapses on the floor. Vikram wakes up in the hospital and Shitra tells him this guy is smart, so Vikram has to put his rage aside and play it smart. Vikram tries to think about what happened and collects some clues that might help him. He decides to go back at the place where he found the injured boy, but he is hit in the back of his head and falls unconscious. A car drops him off at a secluded location and some bikers start cycling around him. Vikram defends himself at first, but they eventually start hitting him with various metal objects, making him fall flat on the ground. Various memories start flowing inside Vikram's head while Aaron calls one of his men and tells him they have played enough games and they should kill Vikram now. One of them gets on his bike and intends to run over Vikram, whose left arm takes charge and stops the bike, turning it over. The rest of the gang attacks him, but that is not a problem for Vikram, whose left arm proves to be very skilled and strong in battle. Vikram returns to his friends and his left arm throws a clue at him, making Vikram realize that Aaron has had something to do with this bus accident he was in. They research how the victims were connected to him, and they confirm their suspicions when they visit Aaron's father, who tell them he knew everything but didn't say anything to the police because he couldn't betray his son. As it seems, Aaron is the man who was supposed to get married to Vikram's sister, but she didn't love him. He was prepared to marry her, but she never showed up in the wedding. In the meantime, Aaron has kidnapped Vikram's sister from the hospital, but hopefully, Vikram knows where to find all of them. Vikram visits Aaron's location, and he has to go against his minions before he gets to Aaron. Aaron tells him it's a shame he came till here just to die, but Vikram beats everyone and finally fights with Aaron. But he soon has to let him go and save Maha before she falls into her death. Aaron tries to strike for one last time, but Vikram injures him. Just before he dies, Vikram tells him that when geniuses use their mind for a good purpose, they are called wizards, but when they use it for evil, they are called psychos. Vikram takes Maha back and reunites her with her mother. All the while, his relationship with Shitra is fine and everything falls into place. Subscribe and hit that like button to help our channel grow. Turn the notifications on so you won't miss any of our new videos. Thanks for watching.